Start with the Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll continue with our prayer of the week. Last week we recited Shri Chaitanya Ashtakam, Prathama Chaitanya Ashtakam, which is the first Chaitanya Ashtakam by Shri Rupa Goswami. And now this week, since it's the auspicious week of the appearance of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, let's recite this wonderful prayer for this week by Shri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So I posted the link in the chat. It's called Shri Sachi Sutta Ashtakam because Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the darling son of Shachi Mata. So this is Ashtakam glorifying Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the son of Shri Shachi Mata by Shri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. So I will sing the prayer and then we can read the translation. Nava Gauravaram Nava Pushpasharam Nava Bhavadharam Nava Lasya Param Nava Hasya Karam Nava Hemavaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Nava Prema Yutam Nava Nita Shucham Nava Vesha Kritam Nava Prema Rasam Nava Dhavila Sat Shubha Prema Mayam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Hari Bhakti Param Hari Namadharam Karajapya Karam Hari Namaparam Nayane Satatam Pranayashrudharam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Satatam Janata Bhava Tapaharam Paramartha Parayana Lokagatim Navalehakaram Jagatapaharam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Nija Bhakti Karam Priya Charutaram Natanartana Nagara Rajakulam Kulakamini Manasa Lasyakaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Paratala Kala Kantaravam Mriduvadya Suvinika Mriduvadya Suvinikaya Madhuram Nija Bhakti Guna Vritanatya Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Yugadharma Yutam Punar Nanda Sutam Dharani Suchitram Bhava Bhavochitam Tanudhyana Chitam Nija Vasayutam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Karunam Nayanam Charanam Vasanam Vadani Skalitam Svaka Namadharam Kurute Surasam Jagata Jivanam Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Pranamami Shachi Sutta Gauravaram Shri Shachi Sutta Ashtakam ki Jai, Shri Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya ki Jai. Yes, anybody who can read the translation today?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, Meenu Mataji, go ahead, please.
His complexion is the hue of fresh green tinged with kumkum. He is the ever-fresh Cupid who shoots arrows of newly blossoming flowers. He bears newer and newer moods of emotional ecstasies. He is fond of performing novel dances. He makes ever new jokes that cause much laughter. His brilliant luster is like freshly cast gold. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is endowed with ever fresh love of Godhead. His radiant luster is like the color of fresh butter. His fresh attire is arranged in ever new fashions. He relishes ever new mellows of love for Krishna. He shines in ninefold new ways while executing the ninefold processes of devotion. He is permeated with the most auspicious loving nature. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is absorbed in devotion to Sri Hari. He maintains the chanting of the names of the Hari. While chanting, he counts the holy names on the fingers of his hands. He is addicted to the name of Hari. He always has tears of love welling in his eyes. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is always removing the suffering of material existence for mankind. He is the goal of life for persons who are dedicated to their supreme interest. He inspires men to become like honeybees, eager for the honey of Krishna Prema. He removes the burning fever of the material world. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He motivates pure devotion onto himself. He is most attractive to his beloved servitors. By his dramatic dancing, he exhibits the characteristics of the king of paramours. He causes the minds of beautiful young village women to dance. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He plays kartalas as his throat emits sweet melodious sounds and the vibrant notes of the veena are softly played. He thus inspires the devotees to perform dramatic dancing that is infused with aspects of his own devotional service. I'll bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. He is accompanied by the Sankirtana movement, which is the religious practice for the age of Kali. He is the son of Nanda Maharaj come again. He is the extraordinarily brilliant ornament of the earth. His preaching mood is suitably adapted to the cycle of birth and death. His consciousness is fixed in meditation on his own form of Krishna. He is always accompanied by his transcendental abode. I bow to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. His eyes, the soles of his feet, and his clothing are reddish like the color that heralds the rising sun. As he utters his own names, his voice falters. He awakens a sweet flavor to life throughout the universe. I bow down to Gora, the beautiful son of Mother Sachi. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Vibo. Yes. So this is our wonderful, wonderful week to get closer to Sri Gaurachandra, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's appearing in another 3 days from today. Okay. So let's now continue reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrit. We are continuing from chapter 9. Let's post the link in the chat. Let's see, I think. So we saw last week in our reading how Srila Prabhupada is now moving back to Vrindavan Dham. He had been to Vrindavan Dham a few times when his Guru Maharaj was there. But now he's retired. He's in his 60s. And he's finally moving back from the wilderness where he was crying in Delhi. Now he's moving to Vrindavan. We saw he had reached the Mathura station and he is on his way now in the Tanga, the horse-driven cart to Vrindavan. So I think we read to the point where he would live in Vrindavan and commute to Delhi because he still wanted to publish his Back to Godhead magazine. That was always close to his heart. So while he wanted to be in the transcendental vibrations of Vrindavan, still his heart was in preaching, and he would continue to commute to Delhi to make sure that Back to Godhead could be published. So he would never stop preaching. So we'll continue from this next paragraph. The sight of taller trees signaled the precincts of Vrindavan as the thin horse trotted along, past the police station and water trough for animals. On either side appeared the garden courtyards of private estates and ashramas. Fragile white malati flowers, golden marigolds, frangipani trees, red hibiscus, trees of sorrow, and many other flowers and trees, some known only in Vrindavan, bloomed forth in the brilliant sunlight. The Radha Govinda temple loomed fortress like on his left, and opposite in the distance, the high rising tower of the Ranganath temple. They entered narrow streets, tighter and busier places with markets and city dwellings, and then it became quieter again. At the end of a narrow street, by the Yamuna river, near the Keshi bathing ghat, stood the small and beautifully ornate entrance of the Vamshi Gopalji temple, a narrow, three-storied building with three domes and many decorated arches. After stepping over the curbside drain and walking up three marble steps, Abhay entered the front door, the driver following him, carrying the luggage. Once inside, Abhay removed his shoes and entered the courtyard, which was open to the sky through a metal, metal grate on which a few birds sat 2 floors above. A column of sunlight lit one side of the courtyard where a potted tulsi sat atop a pillar. The temple seemed cool and quiet. Adjacent to the courtyard was the deity room, its doors locked shut. Overhead was a mezzanine with rooms whose entrances were visible from the courtyard. A few saris and strips of cloth hung on impoverished clotheslines. Mahant Gopal, the temple pujari, whom Abhay had known since 1954, greeted him cheerfully. He was about the same age as Abhay and had long grey hair and had an unruly beard. Although Abhay's attire was modest, he appeared well dressed compared with Gopal, who wore only a coarse dhoti. Gopal led Abhay upstairs. Coming out onto the roof, Abhay smiled to see again the wonderful vista. Barely 100 yards away, he could see the Yamuna, not only the immediate patch of water flowing before him, but to his left and right, a broad curving sheet of river shimmering in the afternoon sun. There were sand deltas, herds of cows and buffalo grazing, the flat grassy banks of the Yamuna, and plains and trees as far as the eyes could see. And in the opposite direction was the town of Vrindavan, marked by dozens of temple spires and domes. Abey's room, the only one on the roof, was small, with narrow double doors and barred windows. Sitting on the apartment's roof, monkeys with their tiny offspring sat watching, unalarmed. Just outside the door, a 2 foot high cement pyramid signified that the temple deity was directly beneath. Abhay entered the room. Through the barred windows, he could see the palace at Keshi Ghat, the venerable tower of the Gopinath temple, and beyond the uninterrupted flat river, the green banks, and the sky. After acquainting Abhay with the details of the room, the small kerosene burner, the rope and bucket for drawing bath water from the well to the roof, Gopal meticulously produced a government stamped rental agreement. Abhay wrote a short paragraph declaring himself a disciple of the late Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and attesting to his renting the room at 5 rupees per month. Both parties signed. After his bath, Abhay took prasadam and rested. When he heard the bells ringing in the temple below, he went down to see the deities. Gopal, who had been the temple's pujari for many years and had seen its reconstruction in 1923, had told Abhay that the temple deity Vamshi Gopalji had been installed 350 years before by Mahant Prahlad Das of the Nimbarka Vaishnava Sampradaya. Gopal himself had installed the deity of Radharani, Vamshi Gopalji, standing in a graceful threefold bending form and holding his flute, was very appealing. He was 3 feet tall and of black marble. Radharani, slightly shorter, was of brass. They were simply dressed in rough white cotton and illuminated by the dim glow of a kerosene lamp. Abhay could see that they were being cared for, but because of poverty, there was no opulence. He returned to the roof as the sun was setting over the town of Vrindavan. Having the entire roof's walkway to himself, Abhay walked and chanted japa, enjoying the cooling early evening breeze from the Yamuna. Occasionally, a solitary boat would pass on the calm waters of the Yamuna, and a devotee somewhere unseen could be heard chanting evening prayers at Keshi Ghat. He felt pleased with this location in the heart of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. He was not a newcomer, spending his first day in a strange town. Everything here was already familiar and dear. As Vrindavan was Krishna's abode, Abhay was Krishna's servant, the servant of the 6 Goswamis, the servant of his spiritual master. He felt at home. As day turned to twilight, temple bells rang throughout the town. Abhay walked to the western side of the roof and looked into the city of the thousands of temples. The Govindaji temple, the Ranganath temple, and thousands of smaller temples were having their Sandhya Arti and Kirtan, glorifying Lord Krishna. Abhay responded to the sights and sounds of Vrindavan as only a pure devotee could. His thoughts and emotions were full of appreciation and awareness of Krishna, Krishna's devotees, and Krishna's land. Naturally, he began to think of preaching, hankering for others to know the ultimate peace and ecstasy of Vrindavan. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was inviting all souls to join him in his eternal abode. Yet, even in India, few understood. And outside India, people knew nothing of Vrindavan or of the Yamuna or of what it means to be free of material desires. Why shouldn't people all around the world have this? This was the abode of peace, yet no one knew anything of it, nor were people interested. But this is what they were actually hankering for. Abhay thought of Back to Godhead and how, by Krishna's grace, he might expand his preaching beyond India to the whole world. His god brothers, it would have been better if they had all worked together in the Gaudiya Math, but many of them were at least keeping the regulative principles. None of them, however, seemed to be doing much beyond maintaining a temple here, an ashrama there, worshipping a deity, eating and sleeping. But there was so much more to be done in broadcasting the glories of Vrindavan. Abhay chanted and thought of Krishna. Gradually, he turned to his task of producing the October issue of Back to Godhead. Due to be printed shortly in Delhi, he had a deadline to keep. The next morning, before sunrise, the residents of Vrindavan were astir, bathing in the Yamuna, performing puja to their deities, reciting mantras. But Abhay was awake even before most, writing in stillness beneath the light in his rooftop room. As he wrote diligently in English, scriptural references appeared and took their place within convincing arguments. For hours he wrote, page after page, in an exercise book, until gradually the chirping of awakening birds signaled the end of the dark night's stillness. Soon the sun would rise. Keeping to his regular schedule, he put aside his writing and began chanting japa, staying in his room, uttering the Hare Krishna mantra in a soft, deep voice. Even before the first traces of the light in the sky, before the river was visible, a few Babajis reciting prayers made their way through the streets, heading for the Yamuna. By 4 a.m., gongs and temple bells throughout the city heralded the Mangala Arati of the deity. Abhay continued chanting alone for another hour. Then he prepared to bathe, lowering the bucket on its long rope and hauling water up to the rooftop. It was light when he went out, his head, his bead bag around his neck, a few copies of Back to Godhead in his hand. Turning right at the temple door, he walked the tight, crooked lane past alleys, dirt paths, and cross lanes, which interlaced in a winding network. There were no shops in the area, only silent buildings, many of them hundreds of years old. The neighborhood was serene. Behind closed shutters, someone played on wooden clackers and sang Hare Krishna softly. At a crossroads, where dark women filled water pots from a well, Abhay turned left onto a street lined with small, open porches. On either side, he saw ornate temple architecture, one entrance marked by two stone lions, another by a carved elephant with teeth like a tiger's. A brick and mortar wall was crumbling with age. Soon Abhay arrived at the Radha Ramana temple, established almost 500 years ago by Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami, one of the Lord Chaitanya's chief followers. Here, residents of Vrindavan were coming and going according to their vows, following a strict schedule that allowed not a moment's delay, making their daily visit to various temples. Abhay entered and stood amidst a group of worshippers, viewing the deity of Krishna, Sri Radha Raman, the deity wearing a fresh garland of flowers. His enchanting black form, adorned with bright scales and jewels, appeared very opulent. Knowing the priests of Radha Raman to be respected, learned Sanskritists, some of whom also read English, Abhay had brought with him a few copies of Back to Godhead. He met Vishwambar Goswami, a young priest in his 30s who, after the death of his father, had left his law practice and taken over some of the temple management. The temple was run under a caste Goswami system, and thus for 500 years, Vishwambar's ancestors had handed out charge of the temple. Although Vishwambar had met many sadhus, he was immediately struck by Abhay's gentle and humble demeanor. He accepted the copies of Back to Godhead and sat and talked with Abhay. Okay, we'll pause here for today. Does anybody have any reflections, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Just the detail, you felt like you're walking to the streets of Vrindavan or being at that rooftop room where you can see and, feel the presence of all these temples. It just transported you there. So I think that was very beautiful. Thank you.
Mm. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, like we were talking last week, I think Satsarup Maharaj is so wonderfully described all the minute details of the dham, of all the activities of Srila Prabhupada. And yeah, we have Satya Govind Prabhu, who's our own devotee here from Vrindavan Dham, Rajabhumi. I'm sure he would have seen all these things so much more closely. But yeah, for all of us who have been to Vrindavan, even once in a lifetime, it is like a perfection of life, like we were reading last week. And yeah, just being in that, atmosphere. Yeah, like we were reading all the Mangala Aartis happening at 4 a.m. in the morning, all the mandir bells ringing. We can just, it just transports us there, and we can just feel. I mean, of course, when we go to our temples here in New Vrindavan, which is non-different than Vrindavan, like Srila Prabhupada said, being there for Mangala Aarti also is a very, very transcendental experience. But yeah, we can imagine what Srila Prabhupada must be imagining, and like that's why he was yearning that why is this just restricted to just a limited few people, right? Why not people come here and really understand the true meaning of peace? Yeah, so thank you for sharing that thought. Any other reflections?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Yeah, similar reflection what Meenu just shared. It is a beautiful meditation. We all chant japa in the morning. So, maybe we can meditate on how Prabhupada used to chant. He was sitting down and chanting, he was walking and chanting. We all have different ways where we feel, good while we are chanting. So all this is a really beautiful meditation, which we can think about while we are chanting. And also another thing I was thinking is like this beautiful uh, atmosphere of Mangala Aarti and Vrindavan. With Prabhupada's mercy, it's everywhere in the world. Whichever town and village we go, we see Mangala Aarti happening in ISKCON temples in a beautiful way. It is so sublime. It is so peace-giving when we participate in these aartis. So it is, we should be really, really grateful to Prabhupada because he just took it everywhere. Now Vrindavan is everywhere, wherever there is Mangala Aarti going on, the morning programs going on. So that was my thinking today. Very grateful to Prabhupada and all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Any other thoughts? Yeah, I was just also reminded as we were reading this at the very end about Sri Radharaman temple. We had the good fortune of visiting the temple this time when we were in India. And yeah, I remember a funny incident when Meenakshi Mohini's glasses were taken away by the monkeys. Srila Prabhupada was also seeing the monkeys and the baby monkeys sitting on the rooftop. And the monkeys of Vrindavan are very notorious. Yeah, we've always had some pleasant experiences, unpleasantly pleasant experiences with the monkeys. So yeah, as soon as we were entering into the temple, kind of the front door, not the main altar, but just the entrance. I think she forgot, she kept her glasses on, and then the monkey came and just quickly stole their glasses and then ran away. And then we had to go get a bunch of bananas, or no, actually it was bananas and fruity because they love fruity. So I had a lot of fruity, and I myself was a little terrified. How do I go and handle this? But finally, I just took some courage and walked towards that monkey who was sitting very coolly there with the glasses. And they told me just give him, don't give him the fruity, straight away, but try to get the glasses and then give the fruity. And then, yeah, with one hand, one hand I picked the glasses, in one hand I gave him the fruity. And then, yeah, right there I noticed there was also the samadhi of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So who was instrumental in establishing this temple. And then as we went into the temple premises and the beautiful darshan of Sri Radharaman, such a small deity of Sri Krishna, but again naturally manifested. This is manifested from one of the Shaligram Shilas that Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami brought from the Gandaki River in Nepal. So when he brought it, and then he was worshipping them, and one day I think there was a businessman who came and he brought some clothes to offer to the deities. But Gopal Bhatta Goswami was kind of a little sad that he was only worshipping Shaligram Shila. So the clothes that were brought were for the deity of Krishna. So when he prayed, and next day, one of the Shaligram Shilas had been transformed into Shri Shri Radharaman. So that was such a wonderful pastime of how the Lord appears for his pure devotees in any form that the devotees wish for or pray for. And yeah, it's always such a blissful experience to take darshan of Shri Shri Radharaman. So I was just reminded of that. Hare Krishna. Okay, any other reflections?
Yeah, nice experience, Prabhu.
Mhm.
Before going to Vrindavan, we'll take some tips, like hints, tips, or experience, so that we'll be careful of the monkeys.
Especially if you have glasses, yes, you have to put your glasses inside.
Glasses, yeah.
They are very expert in taking away. It is almost like, yeah, they are covered. We are covered with illusion, with Maya, and they are the agents of the Lord. They are saying, remove this mask of Maya from your eyes. And when you are in Vrindavan, you don't need, you are not covered by Maya. So, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Okay, so with that, we will pause here for today. Thank you so much for your kind association, as always. We'll end with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bo. Hari Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a great day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.